let's talk about Brotherhood. So this one is adult novel, publishers Del Rey. This one came out May 10th of 2022, and the author was Mike Chen, who is new to full like a
Hmm.
full novel, but he had written something, I think short stories in the past, at least one for one of the anthologies. But from a certain point of view, I think he participated in. But this is his first full novel, and I definitely have thoughts on him being added to the list of authors that they're using now, and we can talk through some of that. But before we do, I just wanted to read the publisher summary just to kind of set the stage here a little bit. All right, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker must stem the tide of the raging Clone Wars and forge a new bond as Jedi Knights. The Clone Wars have begun. Battle lines are being drawn throughout the galaxy. With every world that joins the Separatists, the peace guarded by the Jedi Order is slipping through their fingers. After an explosion devastates Cato Neimoidia, the jewel of the Trade Federation, the Republic is blamed and the fragile neutrality of the planet is threatened. The Jedi dispatch Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the Order's most gifted diplomatic minds, to investigate the crime and maintain the balance that has begun to dangerously shift. As Obi-Wan investigates with the help of a heroic Neimoidian guard, he finds himself working against the Separatists, who hope to draw the planet into their conspiracy, and senses the sinister hand of Asajj Ventress in the mists that cloak the planet. Amid the brewing chaos, Anakin Skywalker rises to the rank of Jedi Knight, despite the mandate that Obi-Wan travel alone and his former master's insistence that he listen this time. Anakin's headstrong determination means nothing can stop him from crashing the party. He literally does crash the party at one point. Uh,
Literally
in,
does.
in bringing along a promising but conflicted youngling. Once a Padawan to Obi-Wan, Anakin now finds himself on equal but uncertain footing with the man who raised him. The lingering friction between them increases the danger for everyone around them. The two knights must learn a new way to work together, and they must learn quickly to save Cato Neimoidia and its people from the fires of war. To overcome the threat they face, they must grow beyond master and apprentice. They must stand together as brothers. So there you go. That does set the stage. Like it definitely gives you kind of a sense for the story, as far as what they're going for.
Hmm.
I almost feel like the description or that publisher summary almost oversells
Oh
some of
yeah.
the aspects of their relationship because I felt like there wasn't a lot of time that they spent together. There was actually a lot of
Hmm.
time they spent apart in the book.
Yeah.
If you read that description, it's almost like they're fighting together, battling together. They're forging this bond, but really they were separated a lot of the book and partnered up with other people.
Hmm.
And then they eventually do come together in the end. Not in the end, but at some point during the book, they come together and work together. But there wasn't a ton of interaction with them, which is maybe a little surprising based on the title and based on the description, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Like you, I think I hadn't read I don't think I'd read the full description, or maybe it was hadn't maybe they changed it later because like I didn't know Asajj Ventress was in the book, and I based on the title assumed, oh, this is going to be a classic Obi-Wan and Anakin story, right? Because I mentioned earlier I loved the Jedi Apprentice books growing up with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I love the Jedi Quest books with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I'm like, wow, we've got Padawan coming out this year, another Qui-Gon Obi-Wan book. We've got Brotherhood, Obi-Wan and Anakin. I was actually more excited for Padawan than Brotherhood for that reason. But I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to get the two of them. And then you're right. They probably spend 2/3 of the book separated.
Mm-hmm.
And while at first I was a little disappointed, it really allows Mike Chen to dive into their characters in a really interesting way and kind of dissect who they are as especially with Obi-Wan being a new master, Anakin being well, not a new master, but Obi-Wan kind of dealing with
Well, he's
um
new to the Jedi Council.
thank you, the Jedi Council, that's what I meant. new, so he's brand new on the Jedi Council. Anakin is brand new as a Jedi Knight,
Mm-hmm.
and also is newly married, which introduces a whole bunch of other great, dynamics.
Which
So
Obi-Wan doesn't know yet.
he doesn't.
I know he figures it out at some point. I can't remember when in the timeline he does figure it out, but he does before he's even told, right? He figures it out.
Right. Yes.
But at this point, he has not figured it out. And to kind of set the timeline too, this is literally like right after Star Wars Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pre everything we've seen in Clone Wars. This is pre Ahsoka.
This is Asajj Ventress' introduction.
Yeah, which is
You know,
huge, right?
yeah.
Because we talked about the Gendy series. I think they introduced her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they technically she showed up in the comics first, the Dark Horse comics first, but
Yep.
her appearance in Gendy's animated series had already been planned, and then the comics were just kind of trying to introduce her before people watched the animated series. So
Yeah.
she's had a couple of different introductions, and then of course, that's pre-canon, and so then they introduced her in canon in the Clone Wars animated series,
Mm-hmm.
in George and Dave Filoni's animated series, and that's where she kind of shows up in canon for the first time. But they don't really give any backstory for her there. It's kind of like
Right.
she's just there. She shows up. She's already kind of fought against Anakin and Obi-Wan. So this is the official canon introduction of the character, and Obi-Wan and Anakin have never met her before.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I hadn't, I read a different summary, or I just missed it. I wasn't expecting her to be in the book, so that was a nice surprise when she showed up. And I loved seeing her character and how she plays off of Obi-Wan, because they just have such a great dynamic. And how it gets more, and you get to learn a lot more about Asajj. Actually, interesting fact that I just learned. Apparently, in the book, Mike Chen kind of tries to allude to to Anakin and Asajj Ventress's duel on Yavin 4 in the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, and said that he apparently told Inverse in an interview that that conflict was like dark and rainy, so it's possible Anakin had no idea who he was fighting.
So it's
And
still
so technically
interesting.
they've fought briefly, but this is the first time they actually interact.
Well, we were talking before about how the comic that's coming out, the Obi-Wan comic, it references the Gendy series.
Yeah.
Well, Mike
Yet another
Chen
one.
does as well, like a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
so he does reference kind of the same things. He mentions Dantooine,
Yep.
Mace Windu, and then
I love that.
he also mentions Hyporia, I believe. He also gives a nice little shout out to Shatterpoint by talking
Yes.
about Mace Windu having that ability. So it doesn't surprise me that he was even more, kind of a deeper cut where he was trying to reference that battle, which I didn't pick up on, but that's cool to know. And I think I had heard in another interview that he had done that he counted out something like 75 references that he made to other material,
Wow.
which some were probably harder to pick out than others. But I love it when authors do that kind of stuff.
Oh, same. And I thought it was done well enough that it was subtle enough that if you're really looking for it, you'll notice it. But if if you've never seen these, like you've never seen the Genndy Tartakovsky series, or you've never read these other books or whatever, you're not going to feel like you're missing something. And I think I personally thought that this was probably one of the best Star Wars books in recent memory.
Oh, you're
And
supposed
I
to save that for the
loved.
end, William.
Oh well, I'll say that too. And I just thought Mike Chen did a phenomenal job referencing other things, writing the characterization of Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I thought it was just one of the best portrayals in book form we've seen.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
since we're talking about it, I had never read a Mike Chen novel before.
Same. This is my first one.
And
Yeah.
so I was pleasantly surprised. Not that I was expecting anything less. I guess I just didn't know what to expect. I'd never read anything from him before.
Unknown quantity.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, okay, let's see what this guy's got. And I loved the style. I love short chapters. Big fan. I
Mm-hmm.
like quick stopping points. I like somewhere where I can be like, all right, I can put the
Same.
bookmark here. I
Yeah,
hate it.
yeah.
I hate reading books where it's 30, 40 pages in a chapter. It's like, come on. Like, I just need to find a stopping point here.
I get exhausted.
So,
Same thing. Maybe that's also because I've been doing those quick, short reading times, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, when there's a lot of chapters, I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna be able to pause whenever I want. I love it.
but having read a lot of High Republic stuff recently, one of
Uh,
the big complaints about High Republic is there's almost too much going on, too many characters, too much to follow. This was the opposite. Like,
mhm.
there was literally, I don't know, I didn't count them up, but maybe 5 or 6 focus characters throughout the book, and he told you at the beginning of the chapter who it was. It
Yeah,
was so, it's like Anakin Skywalker. Okay, this entire chapter is going to be from Anakin's point of view.
yeah,
Okay, Asajj Ventress, this entire chapter is going to be from her point of view. And there were a handful of characters that they did that, and that was it.
yeah,
And so it was really easy to follow, and kind of you weren't kind of getting like, okay, who are we talking about now, or whose thoughts am I in now? Like, it was very clear. I love how quick the chapters went by. Big fan of that style. And then just in general, like overall his writing,
hmm
like you said, I thought he really captured the characters well,
yeah,
even with all their flaws.
yeah, and really getting into like how things I thought was best was just how and why Anakin and Padme work so well together. And
Yeah.
how the two are so different and yet so perfect for each other in many ways. And we get to see them like going out on secret dates at the beginning, and it's just really, it's really nice to see them in that environment, and how well he understands the characters. We even get some like sand jokes,
Yeah, there's some sand jokes. Only Anakin would take his like new wife on a date to like a dangerous underground like
right?
racing thing, like racing ring or whatever.